Aloha. Today I wanted to close out the last video real quick, and because the video got cut off the last one, but and I'll also share. I don't know how it's gonna go. I had a few things that I wanted to share and get into a little bit of my journey, my psychedelic journey, and just how that's affected my entire life and outlook and experience as a whole. But before I get there, I wanted to close out this last perspective of what I was talking about the last video, and kind of expand upon how this not is it's not just a thing that you witness and that's outside of you, because it's everything that happens that we observe is a part of our experience. I know people say, "Well, you create your reality all the time." But there's there's algorithms to that space. There's a math there. There's a geometry there, and you're engaged in that. Whether you're adding to the separation program or you're adding to the connection grid, which is like the creative intelligence or the destructive intelligence, and I'll get into that. I had I guess an epiphany of what that sort of storyline is between the creative and destructive intelligence. Um, yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit. But first off, this whole thing that's going on is the movie reel. Basically, it's a movie reel, and the distraction that I'm seeing here is, or one of the biggest ones that I was thinking about yesterday, is this whole flag thing, this whole nationalism thing. It's also being triggered for the next agenda. Just like Trump was out there on purpose. They knew that this was going to happen, whether it was orchestrated or not. They knew that this is good for the system. Just like Trump is out there, and you can't watch a late night talk show, you can't watch any kind of talk show without them talking about Donald Trump. That's on purpose. That's not a mistake. That was first and foremost before anything else. And the ongoing, as much as there is to talk about, it's like a stream of consciousness, and you can understand what that stream of consciousness is. If there was a buffet called Donald Trump Buffet, and it was built up of all of Donald Trump's like characteristics as a human being, and you were going in there to go eat, imagine how you would feel while you were eating, like what that food would look like. It tastes like generic, stale, just horrible food that you would have to ingest. That is a stream of consciousness that's getting pumped through the mainstream media on a regular basis to dumb people down and to keep you in a space of focus. And it's really just like it's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie to steal your time in order for you to believe into an idea. And people watching this video already know this stuff, but I had to kind of set that to go into this whole flag thing, because this whole flag thing goes into the colonialism program, the mind control program as a whole, because this is not just like the presidential election. This is a military industrial complex and a prison industrial complex expansion program. The entire foundation of this program is at risk right now because people are unveiling the information there. They can only not talk about 9/11 for so long because most people are already privy to this information in some kind of way. And that's just one thread, one giant thread that's a part of this whole system. People already know why we went into Iraq to go, and that was a whole lie, talking about WMDs and then the oil and everything. People already know why Gaddafi was taken out in Libya, and the whole situation out there, and the gold and the water and all the resources, Africa as a whole. People already know that this stuff exists and that this system is rotten to the core. So the only way that it can distract or that it can keep itself alive is to distract you with extremes. Donald Trump is an extreme. Hillary Clinton is an extreme. Barack Obama was an extreme and is still an extreme. And whatever happens, whether they go through with this election or not and expand it to another kind of control grid, whatever happens there, it'll be another extreme. And they're gonna sell it to you with like this essence, this so-called, we need to get back to the essence. And this is what Donald Trump is setting up the foundation for. He's setting up the foundation for the idea of Americana or nationalism. This is what Alex Jones is. This is why he jumped on the Trump bandwagon, or he was, put out there to be a part of the Trump bandwagon, is because they want to keep this mid-level story alive. So just as much as you can understand Donald Trump being talking about, let's make America great again. America never was great. America never was great underneath the colonial program. It was only great within the supremacy program as a whole and the colonial program all over the earth plane. That's the only way it was great. It's because it was a system that was running like a motor that was running on the fuel of illusion, deception, enslavement, genocide, massacres, the colonial program as a whole. That was the fuel it was running on, and it was successful. It was so successful, it created Hollywood. That was an extension of a distraction program. It created the mainstream media that is a psychological program. It created the expansion of the university system, which is an expansion of the mind control program of the colonial system as a whole, to separate you from the actual true stories that existed not only on the lands of the United States but all over the earth plane, the colonial program as a whole. That is the success that they're talking about, and that is the destructive intelligence success that is being alluded to by Donald Trump, by Alex Jones, by all of their supporters, and what's happening on the other side of that. So that in a sense, everybody already knows that. You don't need a lot of information to understand what that stuff really means. That is in essence. This is why they have all those civil rights reenactments and all that stuff, to keep that storyline. The civil rights reenactments are just like every year, and talking about that storyline every year is just like having Donald Trump on every talk show, on every late show topic every day. It's the same thing. It's just stay in this mindset, stay in this mindset, stay in this mindset. And then whenever they're ready to kick the next gear, because that's the destructive intelligence gear, then they're going to sell the creative intelligence, or the illusion of the creative intelligence, but it'll just be an expansion of the destructive intelligence. They're going to drop that shoe in order to, because they can't sell you bullshit forever. They can only sell you so much garbage, because you will only be able to survive on so much. And they need you to survive in order to be a robot that will maintain the system as a whole. So Trump, Alex Jones, the storyline of racism, Black Lives Matter as a whole, is out there to set the tone of the destructive intelligence program and give you an idea of what essence is, or what, like the false essence, the artificial essence, the artificial ego, because that's what this whole system is based upon: artificial ego and illusions. Once they start to sell the natural program, which is what's happening within the people, within social media, within like the actual storyline, the actual information that's been shared, people, as the protests are going on, people who are not protesting, people who are, and also protesting too, they're reconnecting with their roots, their natural essence, their natural beingness, their culture, their actual history, their people, the actual storylines that exist underneath the illusions of the university system and the colonial program as a whole. And what I'm over 150,000 Native Americans lived sustainably in California prior to the gold rush. They had existed for many centuries, supporting themselves mostly by hunting, gathering, and fishing. This life changed drastically in 1848 when James Marshall discovered the yellow metal in the American River at Coloma in Northern California. By 1870, there was an estimated native population of only 31,000 Californian Indians left. Over 60% of these indigenous people died from disease introduced by hundreds of thousands of so-called 49ers. However, local tribes were also systematically chased off their lands, marched to missions and reservations, enslaved, and brutally massacred. These are the storylines that don't want to get spoken of. There is a history for individuals. This is why this artificial oneness is coming about, because the actual justice of the peoples does not want to be carried out, and the individuals who are in so-called power are trying to hide the actual ma'at, the actual connections that are rooted in the genetic codings of the people. They want you to get caught up in an idea of reality, an idea of change. This is what the New Age is totally based upon. Excuse me. This is what the transhumanism program is totally based upon. This is what the ancient aliens program, the alien agenda, the secret space program, all of this stuff is based upon you not looking at the actual stories that exist right underneath the surface of today. There is no difference there, that we are still existing underneath these programs of today, and there's a split between individuals who are open to looking at that information and understanding this information. That doesn't matter how much it hurts, how bloody it is, but it is the truth. It is the actual history of the land, of nature, of the people that we need to heal and understand before we move anywhere. The illusion program is to sell an idea that you have to look the other way or say, well, that's already just happened. What are we going to do about it now? We can't do anything about it now. We just have to move on. That is the split. That is the hopeless state of being where people are just like, well, okay, well, there's nothing we can do. We are just in a slave program and that's it. That's exactly where the control grid wants individuals to be. It wants you to be hopeless. It wants you to be stuck in an idea of yourself that is not your own. It's basically a Cliff's Notes or a Sparks Notes humanity. And by not reading the entire stories, you won't get the bigger pictures. And you will move into a false illusion, an idea of your actual existence. And this whole existence is based upon the destructive intelligence. People think it's just okay because whatever. This goes down to the essence of your soul. In order to allow this stuff to exist, to look the other way and just allow this stuff to exist, that is a crime, a cosmic crime. Down to your soul, down to the roots, the essence of your soul. That is a cosmic crime that is being activated collectively across the entire earth plane. All of this shit is connected, down to CERN, down to the storylines with the Mandela effect, the obviousness of the transhumanism program, the worshiping of technology and its whole smart agenda, the worshiping of the university system, the just allowing these scientism, Neil deGrasse Tysons and Michio Kaku's and Bill Nye's to tell you, to forcibly tell you who and what you are. You are a fucking monkey that came from a stardust piece of shit that just came from the Big Bang, and that's it. This is the entire, this is where the globe model fits in and everything. This is why this stuff is all connected. These are cosmic crimes, and these devils are running amok on the system because the individuals are happy within the program, happy within this system, and it's it's happy within an illusion, because we've been conditioned. It's not that the individuals are actually happy. Individuals are caught up in a magic spell, in an ignorance reality, not knowing that it goes this deep. Our souls have been compartmentalized into ideas of ourselves. A lot of people don't even have an idea of their soul. So how can you connect with the soul? This is why the religion program was so splintered off into different factions in different locations. This is why so many books and so many different religions were set up in different locations, because they needed to calibrate the connections and the ideas based upon the essence of the people of particular locations on the earth plane. Like for different cultures, they needed different books for different locations where different cultures had different styles of interacting with themselves and the land and their soul connections. They needed to sell different versions of reality. So this is where we're at today, and this leads into what I wrote down yesterday as far as the whole flag thing, and I wanted to get into as far as just to mention it real quick. This is that whole flag agenda with Colin Kaepernick and our people burning his jersey and other people burning the flag and not getting any flack for that. But it's this whole nationalistic mentality that the flag represents a chapter of an illusory storybook. It doesn't represent the people. The Young Turks, the Alex Joneses, the political system, the Democrats and Republicans, the American Dream program as a whole, they want to sell you, and I want to focus this just on the United States for a moment, because it does reflect across the entire nationalism mind control program. The United States and the American flag do not represent the essence of the people. People are born from the earth. Are born from the earth. So just as you can understand that certain people in certain areas have different kind of accents, certain people from the Bay Area, we have a style, we have a certain way of interacting with each other, we have certain personality traits, we have all of these various traits and principles that exist within the way we are raised. That shit doesn't come from a flag. That doesn't come from anything that's within this synthetic reality. It comes first from the blood, from the earth, from the culture, from the people. Everything starts there first, and then the storylines get poured on top of it. So you can see like a bucket of American flags get poured on top of it. This is what happened with the whole installation of the American flag and that whole, like, we stand for justice and truth and freedom and liberty and all this other shit, that existed here in the Americas first. That essence, that those principles, those traits existed in the Americas first and foremost. The flags were anything that's added on top of that. It has to steal from what already exists, and over time, over generations, you start to tell the story that has been stolen. You start to tell the story that has been put on top of the foundation, and then you think that's the essence of it. So you think the essence of the people exists within the Constitution and the meaning of the American flag and the United States flag and the national anthem and all that other bullshit. You think that exists in that stuff, instead of realizing that first it exists and existed within the actual essence of the people, predating the Columbian era, predating the national anthem and the United States flag and all this other stuff. That essence, that flow exists in the actual earth, in the soil, and manifests into the people. This is how you can have these different versions of reality, or different types of people all over the place. And these are the stories that don't want to be told, because that is an actual natural connection that people have. There is a natural harmonics to how that exists, why that exists the certain way. It goes all the way up into why we have different so-called races, and you have different traits in China, in Japan, in India, in all of Africa, in Europe. You have different traits in South America, in Brazil, in Peru, in Guatemala, in Mexico. The different traits. You can see the Hawaiian style. You can see the Samoans. You can see the entire Polynesian people as a whole. You can see the Aboriginal Australians. There's an actual essence that exists in the blood of the people, in the actual genetic coding that comes through the earth into the human experience, that manifests into their personalities, into how they exist as a whole, and how they interact within this human experience. That is the essence that doesn't want to be revealed by the system as a whole. They want you to think that all this stuff comes from the enslavement program. They want you to think that all this stuff comes from the essence, the flag. Oh yeah, the flag stands for the freedom and liberty and justice, and we stand up for this, and we welcome all this other stuff. That is a total illusion. It's a facade. It's to maintain an artificial storyline in order to keep people from tapping into the roots of who and what you are and what you actually mean. It's meant to co-opt what is natural. This is what the whole transhumanism program is all about. Since people have been so separated, so genericized, so whitewashed, and so grayed out in their reality, that now they can try to install this whole technological program as if it is part of your so-called human evolution. It's not. This is an entire manipulative enslavement program down to your soul, your essence, your culture, your blood, your genetic codings. This is why they're playing with your genetic codes. This is why you won't hear about the indigenous melanated people in the Americas, all over the world. You won't hear about this stuff, because if you start hearing this, it will start to disassemble the program as a whole. There's the natural storyline that exists, that's in the books, that's in the blood, that's in the genetic codes. And then there's the Hollywood version that exists, that's in the university system books, that's in the political game, and that's in the mainstream version of your reality. All of that shit, until you are able to let go of all of that nonsense, all of that false programming, that illusion, until we're able to let that go, we won't be able to see who and what we truly are. So this whole flag stuff, this is all a precursor to getting ready to set up another flag, another idea. So the flag just represents an idea. It represents an idea of connection, an idea of essence. So now that all the flags and all that stuff is being, and this goes into some videos I did a few months back where I was talking about this whole like international flag that they're trying to set up there for NASA, and sell that whole illusion that, you know, if we go to Mars, then we're going to have to put an international flag up there. We can't be putting a United States flag up there. So this is an entire, like, this plays into the whole oneness program, the whole new age agenda, the secret space program. If we get visited by aliens, we have to present ourselves as united, as human beings. Not just this is why the whole LGBT program is out there, the whole like love is blind, everybody is one, we should have equal rights for everybody. And this is why the race program gets thrown in with the LGBT stuff in order to validate that. And that's a separation program. That's an entire separation program. It's a very complex algorithm that gets manipulated underneath the surface, but it gets sold to you as like the Cliff Notes. So you can allow your controllers to just do whatever it is that they're going to do. And so just like as they pass some kind of law or something, and they'll tell you, oh, the law is about this. But if you read the fine print, you'll understand that it's actually about taking away your so-called freedoms. So you get told that you're free and that you have freedom. But if you read the fine print, you'll realize that you are a slave, and then that enslavement is just getting more and more. The grips of that is getting tighter around you. So I guess I'll leave this video here. I just wanted to close that out from the last video and expand upon the soul essence of like why this program exists, like why we are who and what we are, outside of the flags, outside of, you know, all the race and all that other stuff, because the race is just like another flag. We have our own, we have races, we have whatever that is, that essence of that differences, the divine differences that we exist as all over the earth plane. There's a reason why we have all this stuff. The synthetic race program that gets portrayed in the mainstream is a different story. That is the story that wants to be, that's like the checkerboard that wants to get played against itself, the black and white program, the checkerboard that's on top of the chessboard of locking your soul away from playing chess on the body level, through protesting on all this other stuff on the mind level, through another chessboard on the mind level, through psychology, manipulating your psychology through the mainstream and the university system, and the psychology, the chessboard of your soul that is first and foremost, that is largely about separating you from the creative space, the source energy, the Most High, and installing the destructive intelligence program simultaneously as your so-called God. So this is what the whole university system is based upon: worshiping the university system, worshiping scientism, worshiping these professors as the end all be all. And then people will defend that, saying, well, they're just talking about logic and actual science. It's like, no, you can't have actual science unless you understand the balance of that, the harmonics, the alchemy as a whole, which is the spirit and the science. If you only have one piece of that, if you only have science, then you are practicing another kind of magic that is not for the benefit of anything other than itself, the illusion program. And that's what is happening today. And people are still defending that, so caught up in it, so far into that whole like Americana sort of idea, even calling that Americana, like make our country great again and all, whatever the hell that means. This is an illusion, but people defend that stuff. You have Trump voters, you have people who are defending that program, but simultaneously you have people who are reconnecting with their roots and understanding how deep these stories go and what these stories really represent in our actual essence, in our true, in the natural balances, the natural law. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you for joining me. And my next video, I'm going to go into the psychedelics. I'm going to do it right now, but I wanted to close this video out in connection to the last video. So thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.